Hey guys, it's Todd from Like-Minded Lunatics bringing you, yes, another drink, play, swear. It's all we do around here. Frankly, it's all our existential dread allows us to do earnestly and honestly. Around here. Thanks for being with us while I'm thinking about it. Hit that subscribe button. You know where it is. It's right there. I've been talking about it lately. Just look at it. Right. Shiny red button. Do it. Do it. Please hit that subscribe so we can see how much bigger this Like-Minded Lunatics family is getting. You know the drill. You know I'm also going to tell you to watch the other content on the channel. Lots of stuff for Like-Minded Lunatics out there. Check out our playlists. Lots of the good ones. Well, the newest one is Like-Minded Lunatics Try. That's right. It's so far it's a bunch of professors rating TV dinners. Fried chicken, enchiladas. It's a good time. Please check it out. Okay, so here we are. We are Like-Minded Lunatics, and this is Drink, Play, Swear. What do we do at Drink, Play, Swear? Well, it's exactly the way it sounds. I play a game, usually a classic one, pair it with a beverage, and I tell you a story. Okay, so what do we got today? Well, this is a good one. I mean, you know me. I'm a sucker for the Capcom beat-em-ups. This is another Capcom beat-em-up from the 90s. I mean, the 90s is my bread and butter. Yes, I remember the 80s. In terms of music and all that stuff, the 80s is, well, in terms of everything, the 80s means a lot to me. But the 90s is when, look at the graphics on this. The 90s is when I was sort of, you know, coming into my own, and I was a teenager in the 90s. And so a lot of these games bring back even more concrete nostalgia, if that's a term we can use, than even the 80s. So I'm already playing, but I'm gonna pair this with a beverage here. Let me get that pause menu, because now I know the Todd 2.0 knows how to use a pause button. Let's pair it with the beverage. This is a Jim Beam and Coke. Get yourself something. Sorry, I jumped right into the game because I was excited to play it. It's Captain Commando, Capcom beat 'em up, and pairing it with a Jim Beam and Coke. When I say commando, all I think about is that some people aren't wearing underwear. But see, during COVID, that's all we were wearing. So, like, how many people are going commando now? Probably not too many. You'd have to wear something, wouldn't you? All right, let's play a game, and let's talk. Okay, this game, like many of these, look at this dude. In the machine? Wookie? I don't know about this name. This is a weird one. It's like a space superhero. I don't even know what I'm fighting anymore. An inanimate object. I'm in an office environment now. It's a weird one, but right up my alley. Sort of weird space alien superhero nonsense, brightly colored nonsense. Here I am, my character, Mac the Knife. Very threatening. Look at this dude, Eddie. We're going to talk about Eddie here at the end. Remind me at the end today to talk about Eddie. I promise I will. It actually ties into the story quite nicely. So what are we telling today? What story? I want to talk about my lost year. That's right. In the mythology of one Todd Wright, there is a lost year. What have I meant by a lost year when I brought it up? Honestly, stage one already clear. Mac the Knife. What do I mean by the lost year? Well, what I mean is there was a year where I was not in school or employed full-time. And it was in between grad school and getting my main teaching gig. And so for a long time I looked back on it. Look at these... I mean, you know, they're scantily clad, so you feel like they're somewhat approachable until you see that they're walking around with, like, some kind of electrifying equipment. And for some guys, that would actually not be a deterrent. But for me, I'm sorry. It might be a bit of an overshare, but I'm not looking for the pain. Personally. If you're into it, that's fine. We can be like-minded lunatics, but not be like-minded about every little thing, if you know what I mean. Off I go, and let's get into the story, and I'm going to have a little beverage here with you. All right. What are we talking about here? The lost year. My lost year was roughly from May of 2005, when I graduated from Kansas State with a master's degree, to about August of 2006, when I got accepted and started at the new school in New York City. So there was this year where I was like trying to figure out what I was doing. So many of us have had these. I don't even feel bad about it anymore. At the time, I felt like such tremendous guilt that I wasn't perfect. It's fine. And I should say that for you too. If you're in that period right now, you're going to be all right. So I got done with Kansas State, got done with my master's degree, and honestly, I was a little too proud of myself. I was the first one of my friends to get a master's degree, coming home from Kansas, back to Texas, feeling like kind of a hot shot, and I hadn't felt like a smart kid in many years because of the. I've talked to you about high school memories before. Oh, let's throw you the Metallica one where I talk about my Metallica fandom and having trouble in school. That's a good one. I like Mark's title for that one. Proves his Metallica metal or something like that. That's a good one.
Thanks, man.
Good job, Mark. So, I got home, back to Texas, master's degree in hand, literally feeling proud. But honestly, I didn't have like a big job. I had a tentative adjunct position set up. Wow, look at this guy. What is his name? Looks like Shit Rom. Junior, though. So they've sent us not the real Shit Rom. Look at this. Mac the knife. Let's get some. That looks like the final fight. That looked like Hagar's meat. Remember when we played Final Fight? I love the original Final Fight. The arcade version, great game. This guy's giving me some trouble. I hate when they give you... What's the point of giving us a health bar for the bad guy? When it doesn't even really do anything until you... All right, here we go. Now I'm going to be Ginzu, so I'm going to be real honest with you, Shitstorm, or whatever your name is. You're screwed, sir. I'm going to trap you in the corner. Patented Todd right move. Trap him in the corner. I will eventually get to the story, yes. So I didn't really have a job. I had a tentative gig at my alma mater teaching like 1 or 2 sections of composition, which I had been doing already as a TA, so I felt confident in that. But then I didn't even get that because, of course, if you've ever worked at a university before, you know, a lot of that part-time work has to do with, you know, how long you've been there and what their, you know, how large the student body is, enrollment and everything. Oh, dude, I cut that dude in half. Ginzu's the right choice. The museum is cleared. We defeated Shatron. I don't know the real name. I'm just going to call him Shitstorm. Hope that doesn't offend your sensibilities. Okay. Let's take a minute here. Well, because of enrollment being down, I actually didn't even get that gig. Well, I didn't have too many bills, so it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't married yet. I didn't have kids yet. I didn't even have a car payment. I was driving around my dad's old 97 Firebird still, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but I did need some income, yeah? So the goal for me at that point was to get something for the time being. So today, the main story I want to talk to you about is my year working for Target. I worked at Target with a master's degree while I was looking for a teaching job, not just regular Target employee. I was a flow team member of Target. And for those of you who've worked at Target before, you know flow team means the overnight crew, okay? The overnight crew. So let's talk a little bit about this. I got the gig. I don't know. I knew it was short term, so I wasn't like beating myself up too much about it. And it was working overnight. I was a night owl. I'm not as much anymore. I got kids. I need to go to bed so I can be ready to be up early in the morning, cooking breakfast and getting folks ready for school and all that business. But back in those days, you know, early mid-20s, definitely loved staying up. So the idea of like going to work at 2 a.m. was like kind of a novelty, and I kind of liked the idea. So I'd go in at 2 a.m. and I started this shift at Target. Worked there for a number of months. And Man, look at these. I love the character design in some of these Capcom games. I know that they are guilty of reusing some of their effects from game to game. Like in Final Fight, when you get set on fire, it looks like Dalsum from Street Fighter sets you on fire. But that being said, look at the character design and just all of the design in this is great. A little blood. I was going to say a little blood never hurt anyone, but that's actually not true. So, okay. Ooh. Was that a little... Ooh. That looked like a little shrimp tempura, didn't it? You know me and shrimp. Okay. Todd didn't get the shrimp. Remember when I played Super Mario World so horribly and tried to tell the story in New York about the shrimp? Go check out the shrimp story. It's a good one. So I started at Target. 2 a.m. you're showing up. And what you do is you go up to the line. And you go in the back, you punch in, you go in the back, and then you just stand at a conveyor belt. I worked grocery, which was the green section, and what you do is you'd stand there staring at the conveyor belt, waiting for a box to come out of the truck that had the number 35 on it. And when you saw the number 35, you'd pick up the box and you'd set it behind you on like on a pallet. And when that pallet was full, somebody'd come around and take it out to the store. But until it was full, then you would just pile boxes neatly there. And that was like the first hour or so. It really depended. Sometimes you'd get a small truck, sometimes you'd have a big truck. It just depended on your mood. You know, if you were trying to earn money and you wanted a nice long shift, you wanted a big truck. But if you were like not feeling it and you just were like trying to like earn a few bucks and get out of there, look at this shuriken or whatever I'm walking around with. That was awesome. And then a little chocolate bar. I'm slicing dudes in half. I earned a Hershey's. So, a small truck. What? That was fun. Okay, I'm in some sort of tournament. I'm going to pause to talk to you because I have no idea what's happening. A small truck could be about 800 pieces. And what would happen is you'd walk up, after you punched in, you'd go to the conveyor belt, and you just stand there waiting for the truck to open up. The door would swing open, and then they start piling out boxes. The manager would walk over, and on a little whiteboard, she would write how many pieces the truck is. And that's when you'd find out. So a small truck's about 800 pieces, but then a big truck is like 2,000 pieces. And if you're working holiday, like back to school, Thanksgiving, Christmas, something like that, then you might have as many as 2 trucks with as many as 2,000 pieces. So you're looking at a short shift, an easy night is 800 pieces. And then during like a big one, like when I worked back to school, maybe as many as 4,000. And it really dictated how you felt about the evening, depending on your mood. If you were looking to earn money, you were saving for something, you're like, all right, let's do it. Because you're getting there at 2 a.m. If it's a small truck, you might be leaving at 7 a.m. But if it's a big truck and you're ready to earn some money, you might work till 9, maybe 10 a.m. So after you would unload the truck, and sometimes you'd be on the shift to be in the truck unloading it, and that was a sweat box, and it actually felt good because you'd be doing a little manual labor, you'd be feeling good. Otherwise, on the conveyor belt, you're just kind of standing around. It can be a little boring. After the truck is emptied into the pallets and the pallets have been taken out to the store, then you go out to your section, you open the boxes, you put them where they go on the shelves, and then when you have finished, you take all your empty boxes to the back and you throw them back there. It was monotonous, but you could kind of get zen about it, just like any task that you have to do over and over and over. You could think about whatever you wanted to think about, and no one was really talking to you. In fact, the other employees, you know, maybe you socialized a little bit. Oh, look, here I am, Captain Commando, although I got cut in half pretty quickly. And so you could fall into a zen, and honestly, it wasn't so bad shift to shift. When you went home and you started thinking about your life and your job, you didn't feel great. But in the moment, it was fine. And it's so important in jobs like that for you to have a decent attitude. This guy is smoking me. But don't worry, I'm Mac the Knife. And finally finished up with Yamato here. Tomato. Pink tomato. Is that an annoying voice? So the shift was fine, the work was fine, but I had a couple of memorable moments from that year that really put me in check. Because, as I said at the beginning, I was feeling a little proud of myself, probably a little entitled, that I had a master's degree and that I, quote, deserved so much from the world, you know. And was a little annoyed that I was going to have to do the kind of work that I'd done, you know, getting out of high school, working for grocery stores and at Blockbuster. I told Blockbuster stories before. I was a little annoyed at it, and so occasionally I would get frustrated, and it would show. I remember this one night in particular. Look at these guys. I love that we're in. Okay, you know what? You know how I feel about riding on the thing, but I've never been on these. The robotics looks cool. I might, if I can figure out how to do it, I might actually do it. But I didn't practice beforehand, so I have no idea exactly how I would do it. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. So the mindless plebe of this group figured out how to do it, and Dalsum set me on fire, as I already referenced. Anyway, one night in particular, I am having a rough night. I don't want to be there. I probably think that I'm a little better than the job. Yeah, I'm frustrated. I walk in, and I'm looking for a small truck that night. You know what I mean? I want a quick shift. I want to get home. I want to go to bed. At 7, 8 a.m., I want to go to bed. So I walk in. I walk up to the conveyor belt. I'm waiting for the truck to open. Truck opens. They stretch the little conveyor belt out. Manager walks over and writes the truck numbers. And it's in the like 2000 range. And I'm like, I say out loud, man, fuck. Well, across from me is this woman. I'm going to call her Rose. That wasn't her real name. And honestly, I can't remember her real name. But if it's better in the story for me to give her one. And she gives me a sharp look. She doesn't say anything. But she gives me a sharp look. And I know to back off. She's a tough lady. She's probably about 5'5", but she's solid, you know. So I quiet down and I just go about what I'm doing. And you know, if you've worked in customer service or if you've worked in a collaborative team environment like that, you know that the mood of the team is only as good as the person with the worst attitude, right? Because it can be toxic. It can be poisonous if you work in an environment and somebody's got a bad attitude. And that day I happened to come in, excuse me, I was the one with the bad attitude. Look at this. Look at this monster. Sorry, I'm in awe. This is great. And who should I be? I haven't been the baby yet. I'm going to be the baby. This is a weird game. I'm totally impressed. So later on in the shift, I'm out in the store. You know, I worked in groceries, so I'm putting like ketchup bottles on the shelf, trying to make them nice. You know, pickles, olives, and then Rose comes up, and she's like, "Todd, you're on trash today." Trash was not a hard job, but it was a little more work than you would do if you were just standing around the store. And what it meant is you would go to the back early. Ginzu. I think I had the best luck with Ginzu. Well, sliced them in half just like that. You had to go back there a little earlier than you normally would have, and everyone's just been throwing the boxes back there as they're emptied, and you're breaking down boxes and putting them in the box, smasher? I can't remember what it's called. This looks rad, so I'm gonna pause for a second. You'd put into this huge machine, put all the boxes in, and very dangerous, and then you would pull the lever, and it would smash the boxes into these smaller, easily disposable pieces as opposed to these massive boxes. I was on trash duty, and I already had a bad attitude early in the evening, and Rose had already given me a look, and I wasn't smart enough to not react. So she said, Todd, you're on trash. I don't know, by the way, she was not a manager. She may have decided I was on trash just because of the way I was acting earlier. And I went, come on. I gave like a real audible response. Come on, like something like that. And she walked over. I will never forget it. And it's sort of the reason why I'm telling this story today. She comes over to me and she goes, all right, master's degree, I'm going to tell you something. And I don't need any response from you. She says, you're a tourist here. You're between jobs. But the rest of us, all these people, we're working as hard as we can because this is the best it's going to be. And after my shift is over, when I leave at 9 o'clock, I go to a department store and work another job. And I work another 7-8 hours before I see my kids. So, you got a problem with doing trash? You got a problem with pulling boxes, say 35 off and putting them on a pallet? You keep it to yourself or you leave and you don't come back. And of course she's right. Of course she's right. So I didn't work there much longer because I would that year save that money from Target and from selling vacuums. I've talked about selling vacuums before. And I would buy my girlfriend an engagement ring. And I would ask her to marry me. And we would decide to do more school. And we would move to New York. And you know the New York stories where we lived for a few years and we got married. And when I came home from New York, I had a good job waiting for me at my current job where I have been for 13 years. So honestly, she was right. I was lucky enough to be a tourist, Rose, that is. I was lucky enough to be a tourist. I'm being timed here. This is interesting. I honestly have never played this before, so this is all new for me. I wonder what my goal is. Am I trying to kill him in the time? I can't tell if I'm just trying to survive or if I'm trying to kill. Oh, yeah, he's got a health bar. Okay, I did it. I want to tell one quick last story. I feel like we just slayed the scientist and finished stage 5. So I'm going to say I feel good about breaking there, but I'm going to tell you this one last little piece before we wrap up today. On my last day at Target, before I would leave, I had put in my 2 weeks like you're supposed to do, and it was my last shift. We were all set to move to New York, and that was a whole other thing. I've talked to you about New York stories, moving to New York, and how hard that was. I was up for the challenge, but it was going to be a challenge. But my last day at Target, there had been this little contest for the employees and the stores in Target around North America. And what it was like a commitment to safety. So the idea is they were trying to make sure that there were as few workers getting hurt as possible. So they were emphasizing the training on, how to work safely. And then they had worked up this little gimmick where the safest Target store in the country was going to get, celebrated. It was going to get coverage on the website. There was going to be a big party. I don't know. They were going to feed us or something. And every employee was going to get a cash bonus. The number one store in the country only, right? Well, I was living this year in San Marcos, Texas, and working at the San Marcos Target. And that Target was one of the final contenders. It was in the last, if I remember correctly, it was in the last 100 stores that had not had a medical incident report. Because once someone gets hurt, you have to file a report. Even if they don't have to go to the hospital or anything, you gotta report it. And in the back room, there was a whiteboard that had days without an incident written on it. My final shift at Target, I am on trash duty. And so I am breaking down boxes and throwing them in like the box smasher gizmo, whatever you call it. And when the shift was over, they would announce it over the intercom, just like if you're a customer and at Target goes ding, oh, and you know to listen, right? So I'm breaking down a box, and as I'm breaking down a box, I have my sharp box cutter in my hand. You already know where this is going. Spoiler alert, I ruined it for everyone who worked there. So I hear ding like that, and as I hear ding, I'm slicing with the box cutter, and I just raise my knife like that sharply to break the box open, free the tape on the box, And she makes the announcement, everybody come to the back room, shift is over, let's have a team meeting. And I look down, and I've sliced my knuckle. I have a little scar right here on my middle knuckle of my right hand. I sliced it open, and it starts pouring blood. It's not a deep cut, but it's a long enough one that it starts pouring blood. So, it wasn't Rose, but there was a dude who saw me, who probably also didn't like me. If you don't know me very well, I'm quite unlikable, I guess. And he's looking at me, and he's just standing there, and he saw it happen, and he goes, "Are you serious?" No, he didn't feel bad for me at all. Just within the context of winning this contest, he saw that we had just lost. So I make my way to the back room. I show my boss. I get some gauze to just hold on it, and it's filling with blood very quickly. And I just stand in the circle for the team meeting, and everyone is just looking at me like, because it was my final shift. I was this spoiled kid who had a master's degree, and I had just ruined it by slicing my hand. And I remember Rose. She looks over at my boss, and she goes, "It's his last shift. We don't have to write a report, He's not going to say anything." And I'm like, I'm like a little puppy dog. I'm not going to say anything. The manager looks down. She goes, "I'm sorry, guys. I have to file the report." Oh, the groans across the room. She walks over to the whiteboard. She scratches off the number, and here we are at 0 days without an incident. My final second of being an employee at Target. I ruined it. I ruined it for everyone. And it was like, "Thanks a lot, Todd." And by the way, I walk around with the knowledge that there is, I think, a prejudice against, and it's probably earned, against the people named Todd in film and TV and popular culture. Todd, sort of like how we give Karens a hard time in the culture now, like Karens are a specific person. Todd is a person who ruins everything. And Mark, if you could please show, to illustrate this, I know we're wrapping up, but the George Carlin clip where George Carlin makes fun of Todd's, I think that'll probably convey exactly what I mean.
And I'm getting really sick of guys named Todd. It's just it's a goofy fucking name, okay? "Hi, what's your name?" "Todd." "I'm Todd. And this is Blake and Blair and Blaine and Brent." Where are all these goofy fucking boys' names coming from? Taylor, Tyler, Jordan, Flynn. These are not real names. You want to hear a real name? Eddie. Eddie is a real name. Whatever happened to Eddie? He was here a minute ago. Joey and Jackie and Johnny and Phil, Bobby and Tommy and Danny and Bill. What happened? Todd and Cody and Dylan and Cameron and Tucker. "Hi, Tucker. I'm Todd." "Hi, Todd. I'm Tucker." Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks. And fuck Tucker's friend, Kyle. Yeah. There's another soft name for a boy, Kyle. Soft names make soft people. I'll bet you anything that 10 times out of 10, Nicky, Vinny, and Tony will beat the shit out of Todd, Kyle, and Tucker.
So, sliced myself open, ruined their chances at a bonus and whatever barbecue dinner they thought they might have been getting. I'm laughing. I do feel bad. But I'm laughing because George Carlin was an iconic comedian, and I loved him. And the first time I saw that bit where he makes fun of Todd, I was angry at my parents for having named me. Thanks for joining us here at Like My Lunatics and here at Drink Play Swear. If you haven't hit that subscribe yet, do it. Please do it. Bang, right there. Target Memories. Captain Commando is a great game. I want to play more of it. Cleared stage 5 pretty effortlessly. Not to toot my own horn. Also beat Andre the Giant the other day. Let's finish up this beverage. I hope you're doing well. In between now and the next time I talk to you, I'm Todd. See ya.